Charlie Adam, former Scotland midfielder, Danny Mills, former England defender, are with us live on talkSPORT and live on talkSPORT's YouTube channel as well. You can actually see the boys in action. Let's talk about Scott McTominay, and a couple of things I want to highlight, just to put it into perspective really. Mentioned before that he's joint top scorer in European qualifying across the whole continent, all the qualifying groups. Joint top scorer with Rasmus Højlund and Romelu Lukaku, scored more than Kane, Mbappe and Ronaldo, which in itself is incredible for Scott McTominay. And when you think about it, earlier in Steve Clarke's reign, McTominay was one of the three centre-halves, and now he's just behind the striker, scoring all the goals. So it's an incredible transformation. But what does that show? Does it just show that Scott McTominay is actually way better than us Premier League watchers knew all along?
I think the big thing about for Scott is he's at Manchester United, and that midfield is very, very difficult to get in. Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Eriksen, top players. So, you know, at the times he filled in at centre back because we were struggling at that time. Now we've managed to get a solid back three in terms of Tierney, Porteous, Hendry, playing regular now. Cooper obviously went in there. McTominay can actually play in that position and step into midfield and very comfortable on the ball. But what I like about Scott McTominay is he's got great energy and great legs, and that's why he's been so successful in the last few games, because he can actually get forward, get into the box, and a lot of his goals are like, say, running from midfield. So yeah, 6 goals in 5 games. You know, midfielders, strikers, you have streaks like that, and ultimately, what pleases me as a coach is that, you know, what he must be doing at Manchester United away from the actual training, preparing, looking after himself, not sulking, training hard, being ready to come to these international games. And you'd never ever think that he'd only made 2 appearances for Manchester United this season. So that's down to him, his attitude, his determination, his focus, being ready in the right frame of mind, coming to Scotland, and just knowing that Steve obviously trusts him and he wants him in the squad. And that's something at the moment where he's finding it difficult at Manchester United to play, but he's got that focus that he wants to try and help the national team get to another major tournament, and that solely is his focus and his drive.
Charlie, you'll know better than most. Is it a little bit easier to play for Scotland than it is for some of these big clubs, or possibly England, where you're expected to perform every week, you're expected to perform at the highest level, you're expected to win every single game? When you come and play for Scotland, is it almost a little bit, well, the pressure's off a little bit of an underdog, and we can actually relax a little bit more and just go out and not just enjoy it, because that's the wrong thing, but actually go and play with a little bit more freedom? Yeah,
no, I think so. But the biggest thing now is this group of players now post the Euros, you know, played 19, won 15, drawn 1 and lost 3. They're in an incredible run of form, 79% win rate. That adds pressure now to the national team, you know. And if it'll be the same Wednesday morning. If we do get beat from England, the back pages in the Sun, in the Daily Record, and in other papers, there'll be some people will be talking, saying, well, why did we get beat? This is that. It's the nature of playing for the national team, and you can't keep everybody happy. So I just think that as a Scotland fan, we're enjoying the moment. I think they just feel that group of players there's a special group of players at the moment for us. It's been a long time since we've managed to qualify for tournaments. Steve's managed to do that with his backroom stand, you know, John Carver and Austin McPhee and people that are around it. It's brilliant to watch, and everybody's excited to actually go and watch Scotland. I think now the average attendance probably about 45 to 50,000. Before it was 25,000.
It was pure apathy before, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like drab. Nobody actually wanted to go and watch Scotland. It was like, oh, Scotland are on again the telly. Do we need to watch it? But now it's like there's a buzz, there's a feel-good factor. Everybody wants to watch Scotland, and that's brilliant. I'm going to answer your question, Danny, because I think you're right in that there's less pressure, or there was a few years ago. But I was reading the Daily Record today, and there's a columnist who you know well, Keith Jackson, and he's written a piece right at the end. I actually couldn't believe what I was reading, but fair play to him. And I think this is a reflection of how Scotland fans are feeling given this qualifying campaign. He actually said Clarke and his players are not only ready to take their place in Germany next summer, they're capable of doing something truly special when they get there. And I was thinking, well, what does he mean by that? Where does he think they can go? Where do Scotland fans think Scotland? What do they think they can achieve?
But this is the different mentality. This is the different mentality. England go into every tournament. If you don't win it, you've failed massively.
Yeah.
We've seen Wales go into tournaments and go, oh, little old Wales. Oh, well, let's see how well they do. Done brilliantly. Scotland could be exactly the same. Expectation as a player and that pressure is huge, and it's completely different. Going into every game almost as the underdog is great, because there's no you just can't play. If you lose, so what? If you outperform, oh, brilliant, well done. Everyone gets a pat on the back. And Charlie's right. This is what Scotland are now going to have to start to contend with, because this fantastic run they've gone. Imagine they beat England, and all of a sudden, hang on a minute, we've beaten the 6th best team in the world. I know FIFA rankings nonsense, but that's what they are. And all of a sudden, it'll be like, well, the expectation on Scotland is now to go out and play good football, to score goals, to start winning, get into quarter-finals. Then how do the players deal with that? Becomes a different, completely different mentality.
But the thing for the difference is that we qualified for a major tournament after 20+ years.
For the Euros.
Yeah, and we walked away saying we'd actually had a good European Championships. We got beat from Ukraine. Was it Ukraine we got beat from? We drew 0-0 with England. We got battered from Croatia at Hampden. Annihilated from Croatia, by the way. But we had a good tournament. Brilliant. Well done, lads. If that was any other country, it would have been absolutely ambushed out. Do you know what I mean? But now everything's changed. Since that tournament, there's a belief now that we can actually go. I'm not saying Scotland are going to go to Germany, France and win it. But what I'd expect is to go and win at least win a game there and be competitive in the group that we go. As a fan, you could say we're nearly that we are.
He's saying doing something special.
Yeah, but listen, that's Keith Jackson.
But what does that mean?
What does special? Does that mean getting out of the group? Does that mean getting to quarterfinals? If Scotland got out of the group, I think would be a brilliant achievement.
Yeah. One question though, on Scott McTominay, it's clear he can play different roles. He can be effective as well. He's a goal scorer. Erik ten Hag has not seen this. You've said 2 appearances for Manchester United this season. What is it? Why can't Erik ten Hag get the same out of Scott McTominay that Steve Clarke does?
He's not played them enough.
So he should be playing him more?
Oh, I think he should. I think if they're underperforming that midfield of Manchester United, they're underperforming. He needs an opportunity to play. But it's where he plays him. Does he play him on that right-hand side when that's where Bruno plays? And he's captain, so it's going to be very difficult to leave him out. Mason Mount, they've just bought for 40+ million. Casemiro is a world-class player. He finds it tough. Eriksen is a top player. So when you're at the big club, and ultimately there was rumours that he was going to leave. So wherever he was going to leave to in the summer, he was going in to be a first pick and he was going to play. Either it was West Ham or he would have played in the midfield at West Ham. But sometimes you have to go away from that big club to go and play games to then maybe possibly go back to that level.
But if you look at those other players you've mentioned, Eriksen, Mount, Bruno Fernandes, he's outscoring them, outperforming them in European qualifying. They're all playing European qualifiers.
Yeah, I understand that, but they are top. They are very, very good players, and at the moment things are not working. And maybe when Scott comes back from these games, that he might get an opportunity now in that Manchester United team.
We'll see. Can you see that happening, Danny?
I think it's difficult for him. As Charlie says, you've got 4 or 5 midfield players in there that are very, very good. Have proven it at the top level, time and time again. Managers will always err on the side of caution, especially in those important areas. McTominay doesn't have to be as good as, he has to be significantly better than them to get in. So when he gets his chance, he can't just be the same as them and do okay. He'll have to do significantly better, and he'll have to be absolutely. And that's hard when you've not played a lot of games. When you're coming on at maybe half time or 30 minutes to go, it's difficult, to be able to do that. Especially as a midfielder and the way that he plays, or maybe more on the defensive side. So it's going to be tough for him. He's going to maybe have to wait for an injury or something like that to get a run of 4 or 5 games to show what he can do.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.